come into a comfortable seat somewhere on your mat. Make sure that wherever you are, you're getting that tall alignment with your ears stacked over your shoulders and your shoulders stacked over your hips. You can gently close your eyes or take your gaze down to the floor in front of you. And just make sure the arms are heavy by your sides. Let's start to tune into the breath now as you inhale, swelling in through your nose, expanding your belly, expanding sideways through your rib cage, all the way up to your chest. Exhale long and smooth, settling, draining, releasing. Inhaling through the nose and exhaling through the mouth. If you feel like you're holding on to a little extra tension, these long out breaths help to encourage that deep state of rest and peacefulness, activating the parasympathetic nervous system. So continue deep cycles of breath in and out until you feel a heaviness settle over you. Releasing any tension through the muscles. Really feeling grounded in your seat. Keeping your attention on the breath. If your mind starts to wander, bring it back. And invite 3 more long, nourishing cycles. Make them slow, make them long, make them complete. You feel ready, start to roll into your head, taking your head front, side, and back very slowly. Big circles. You can keep your eyes closed. Keep your eyes closed as much as you can throughout practice. This really does help to keep your focus inward. Especially if you're at home and you notice dust bunnies in the corner or any other visuals that can be distracting. Simply close your eyes. One more cycle around, and we'll take it in the opposite direction. So move slowly to help encourage that exploration. Exploration through the neck, through the traps, shoulders, back. Noticing where you're feeling a little bit of pulling or tension. Not looking to make any shifts in that tension, not yet. We're just exploring. Where do you feel it? One more cycle around. Coming back up through center. You can open your eyes. We're going to take the left fingers and we're going to bring them up into the neck here and just start to massage. So we're still sitting up tall. You can move your legs if you want to, or get into a new position if you need to. I'm just going to massage the side of the neck. So as you were rotating around, noticing where you felt it. Was it kind of up by the skull? Down the side of the neck? Was it a little bit deeper in the neck here? down across the trap perhaps. Just get in there with your fingers. All the way down to the shoulder blade. And back and around. And what you're doing is just using your fingertips to kind of knead into the muscle. Make sure the right arm is heavy. There's no tension in it. Giving yourself a little bit of love here. Gentle compression and massage. Good. And let's move to the opposite side now. So really settling that left arm down heavy by your side. Take your right fingers and start to explore. So I know with this side for me, it's much more tense. So you might want to close your eyes if you feel the juicy knot there. Breathe and hold. Pressing firmly on that spot. Feeling the tension drain away. Feeling that knot beneath the fingertips start to soften and release. You can find a little movement and shift to another spot perhaps. This whole side for me, the side of the neck and traps and shoulders, super tight and jammed up. And that could just be the way I'm sleeping. It could be a past injury. It could be the way you're holding baby. So just being mindful of what you're feeling and where you're feeling it. Again, we're not looking to find any complete resolution of the knot perhaps today. This is something we might have to work on day after day, but you're just exploring. Sending love to the body. Much needed love. With compassionate hands. And slowly release that hand down. Let's give the shoulders 3 big rolls back. Click, click, click. And 3 big rolls forward. Good. And then still sitting up tall, again adjusting that seat if you need to a different position. Walk your left fingers out to the left. Plant the hand on the floor. Before we lift up, we're going to make sure the right sit bone though is rooted firmly into the ground. Inhale your right arm. Exhale, come into a little side stretch. So here what you're doing is you're bending, tilting your body over, kind of like a teapot tilting over. And just make sure the chest isn't facing the ground. Make sure the arm is high up over the ear, reaching your fingertips over like a rainbow, and then settling the right shoulder blade down your back. It doesn't matter how deep you come. Sometimes it feels better to just come halfway, really open up, and then readjust and see if you do want to come a little deeper or not. Wherever you're at, just make sure that that right sit bone is grounded. And you're breathing. Beautiful. And slowly rise, planting the right hand down on the ground, moving like you're moving through molasses. Inhale. There's no rush here. Exhale. Coming halfway, set yourself, expand, open, ground the left sit bone down. And explore this beautiful side stretch. Only come to a space that feels good and nourishing in your body. We're not pushing ourselves right now to these extreme limits. This is about compassion and love. Good. And slowly rise up. Okay. Let's open up the feet, and you can just give the legs a little windshield wiper to just lube up those hips and the pelvis so we can get mobile here. And then very slowly, we're just going to sweep the feet around and come up onto the knees for a simple child's pose. Option to keep your knees together and gently compress the belly, or option to take the knees a little wider and allow your body to fall in between the space. So whatever feels good for you. Let's start first by interlacing the fingers behind your back, kind of like you're holding your own hand, and then open your heart to the sky. Now I'm attempting to straighten my arms as much as possible and lift the palms up, up, up. Now if this doesn't feel good in your chest, if this is too much of an intensity through the front of the chest, then the other option is to just take your hands to your lower back, your sacral area, and gently press the palms there into the back of the pelvis. Lift the heart, draw your elbows towards one another, and it's another beautiful heart lift. After all the carrying and feeding and wearing that you do all day with baby, the shoulders rounding, yeah, this is a beautiful counter balance here to all of that posture that you sit in most of the day. Breathe. One more breath. And then let's slowly start to descend through ragdoll into child's pose. So chin to chest first. Let the head be really heavy. Go slow so you can really feel the fascia all the way down the spine, and then start to come forward. Let the head lead, let it be heavy, walking the hands out in front of you and coming into your child's pose. Whichever version you're doing, attempt to get your forehead down to meet the mat. And if you feel like it can't quite reach, that's where you pull in your prop, blanket or pillow, and put it in place so that your forehead can feel grounded. Breathe long, nourishing breath in and out. One more cycle of breath here. And then slowly start to ascend up through that ragdoll. So walk the palms back. Keep your head really heavy, chin to chest, stacking vertebrae upon vertebrae. And then when your shoulders come up over your hips, slowly rise your head all the way back to center. Just take a moment here, take a cycle of breath. Good. All right. If you have any props in front of you, you can just move them out to the side. We're going to come forward into tabletop now. So ideally, tabletop is stacking knees right underneath the hips, stacking wrists right underneath the shoulders. But of course, modify if you need to. If the wrists are giving you trouble, pull in that prop. Come down onto your forearms. Whatever version feels good for you, make sure that you're not experiencing any pain. And let's move through cat-cow. So as you inhale, take a gaze up, nice neutral spine, maybe dipping the belly slightly, seeing how that feels in the belly and the torso. And then as you exhale, really rounding the spine, push your heart center up to the sky, drop your head, let there be no tension in your neck. Inhale back up. And just flow with your rate of breath, inhaling to rise, exhaling to round. I want you to move slowly, pause if you want to pause in any particular pose. Follow your rate and your rhythm. That's what's going to feel most nourishing to you. Send that compassion and self-love to yourself. Beautiful. One more cycle of breath. In and out. Take your time. And meet back up in our tabletop in neutral. Extend your right leg long behind you and press the toe mound into the ground as you draw the heel towards the floor. Big calf stretch here. Breathe deep. The calf is a big, juicy muscle within our foundation, which doesn't receive a lot of love for the most part. And so lots of tension and tightness is held there, oftentimes resulting in the tension and tightness up in the back, neck. So stretching that area out long. Good. And then slowly starting to bend the knee and take the knee up to your side and do 3 big circles, attempting to keep the hips level and parallel to the floor. So try not to raise the hips up too much. Keep them level. And then bring that knee back into place. You can sit back on your heels, give the wrists a little roll out, give the chest an open. And then come right back into your tabletop. And we'll do the opposite side. Extend your left leg long behind you for a big calf stretch. I always notice in these juicier sensations, these poses that create a little bit more intensity, that I often find myself doing the out breath, the inhale through the nose, exhale long through the mouth. And if you remember from our prenatal classes, that is one of our tools that we use leading up to facing that challenge of birth. And you may have noticed during your birth that the breath was indeed a powerful tool. Good. All right, let's slowly do 3 big circles with the knee, trying to keep the hips level. Just moving into the hip joint, getting mobility through the pelvis. It's all good. And then lowering that knee to the ground. Beautiful. Sit back on your heels, toes untucked or curled under, whatever feels good for you. And then we're just going to get into the neck one last time here. So take your right hand and take it on the outside of your left ear. First, lift up and lengthen through the crown of the head, and then on your exhale, draw your right ear towards your right shoulder. And you're not pulling with your right arm. What you're doing is you're just resting the palm on your head and allowing gravity and the weight of your arm to help elongate and open up the left side of the neck. If you want to explore that intensity, you can take that left arm out to the side. I feel it already. I don't even need to raise my fingers up more than a foot, and I feel the intensity right up my arm, referring down through my bicep, down my back. I feel it through my chest. So glorious. Very juicy. So I'm going to do those out breaths. You can rotate the palm as well to explore. See how that feels. Again, we're not looking for a resolution of the sensation. We're just exploring. We're just noticing what's showing up in the body and where. One more breath cycle. Good. And then slowly come back up through center. Bring both arms down by your side. And let's take the left hand up. Place it on the outside of the right ear now. Lift and lengthen through the crown of your head. And exhale, spill the head towards the left shoulder. Making sure that you're not reefing on the head. Making sure you're just letting the left arm be heavy and allowing the weight of the hand and the arm to take your head to the side, opening up the side of the right neck and shoulder. Noticing how this side feels compared to the left. I know the left side for me was much more intense than this one. And if you want to, again, explore a little more intensity, you can bring your right arm out to the side. You can see I can bring my right arm right up to parallel. And that's because this side is not as intense for me. The left side was much more intense. Still feels good though. Notice the difference though of sensation versus strain. You shouldn't be feeling like a strain, like a cringing of your teeth just to get bare and get through. You should still be able to take deep cycles of breath through these sensations. Yeah. Okay. And slowly releasing, releasing, releasing. Give those shoulders a roll out. And let's come to sit back on the bum. Take your time. Bring your feet into bound angle. So kind of like sole to sole, and then let the knees be heavy and let the feet splay open. Good. Pull yourself into this tall seat by using your shins and rolling your pelvis forward into the space here between your legs. And here we achieve this nice tall seat. And then we're just going to start to roll around. So keeping this alignment with the ears stacked over the shoulders, shoulders stacked over the hips as you loop around into these Sufi grinds. Now, as you come back, you want to make sure you're not tilting back. Just come right back through center. Tilting back, we're going to be activating the six pack. And just for now, we just want to keep those muscles turned off and focus here on just getting deep into the hips. You feel that stretch in through the hip joints and deep into the pelvis. You can close your eyes again and just notice what you're feeling and where you're feeling it. Only coming to an edge that feels comfortable, that doesn't feel like a strain, where you can still breathe through it. And as always, this is your practice. If you want to pause anywhere and hold a certain position, please do so. I am just your guide. My cues are just suggestions. We're going to do one more cycle around and we'll take it in the opposite direction. So you just go at your own pace. As you're doing these loops around, you can do a quick body scan starting from your forehead, your third eye centered, and just exploring anywhere in the face and body, in the physical body, where you might be holding on to tension. And these are our trigger spots, the spots in our body that become activated with tension that sometimes subconsciously we don't even realize that it's happening. So for me, I know it's my jaw. I tend to clench or knit the eyebrows, scrunch up the shoulders. So just really allow opening, softening, and release anywhere you can in the physical body. One more loop around. Good. And coming back up to your center. Let's take the knees together. And we're going to come down onto the belly. So just rolling yourself onto the side and then roll yourself onto the belly. And just check in here on your elbows how this is feeling for you. Toes are untucked, pressing the toenails into the floor. Tuck your tailbone so that your pubic bone is kind of pressing into the floor. And then guide your elbows underneath your shoulders. This is Sphinx pose. And if you feel like this is too intense, then just come down a little lower, bringing palm upon palm or fist upon fist, and just hang out here. So whichever version feels good for you, we're just going to lull the hips from side to side. Just kind of massage the belly, massage the visceral body, the organs that, if you're more recently postpartum, are still descending back into place. And close your eyes. Breathe deep. Shed away any tension. Yes. And flowing, if you want to flow with me, or staying here if it feels good. Taking your fingertips out nice and wide, out to the sides of your mat, and kind of in line with your shoulders. And then inhaling up for little baby cobra, gazing up. Exhale down. Inhale up, really settle your shoulder blades down your back. And exhale down. Let's do one more. Inhale up. And exhale down. Beautiful. All right, we're going to slowly shift over to your back now. Take your time. Again, like you're moving through a pot of honey. We're always in such a rush in our day. So being mindful of those movements, nourishing the body as we transition. All right, taking your right knee up, bending it towards your right armpit. So you can clasp your hands over top of your knee or your shin and just help pull it in. If it's easier to just do your right hand, you can do that as well. And just take your knee off your body out to the side so it's kind of coming in towards the right armpit. I'm flexing both feet, charging up the left leg. This helps keep your alignment. Good. And then we're going to take that right foot and bring it up so it's parallel with the ceiling. Reach up the inside of the leg and grab a hold of either the shin or the top of the foot, or with your peace fingers grabbing a hold of the big toe. This is one-legged happy baby. From there, we're just gonna, again, we're not gonna reef the leg down by pulling it with the arm muscle. We're just gonna let the arm hang heavy here and allow gravity to take the right knee towards the floor. Notice how that feels. Notice if any trigger spots tensed up here in this big hip opener. Notice if you can still breathe. And move out of it. Shift into a position, if this is too intense, into a position that feels a little more nourishing, because that's why you're here. Good. Okay, we're going to slowly release that leg long now. Right leg, lay it down on the ground. You can give them a little shake out, reset yourself, flex into both feet, and draw the left knee up now in towards the left armpit. Clasping both hands or using just your left hand on top of the shin to help pull it in, whichever version feels better for you. Tucking that knee in as close as you can, but making sure you're very aware of the tummy and the bits and how everything feels down in the pelvic area. If you're feeling discomfort, if you're feeling heaviness, just noticing that, that's a indicator that maybe we're too deep and in a pose that our body isn't ready for. Being compassionate with yourself is that if that is your reality right now, knowing that that's just a stage and you'll pass through that. Good, good, good. All right, taking that sole of the foot, drawing it up so it's parallel with the ceiling, and reach up the inside of the leg to grab a hold of either the kind of the ankle area, the sole of the foot, or with your peace fingers, grab a hold of that big toe. I've got nice long toes to grab, so that's the one I always go for. And then just let your left arm be heavy. Let the knee fall towards the floor. So thinking here, as we do our final pose, if there's anywhere in the body that you still need a little love or attention, if there's any pose or movement that you want to do here before Shavasana, doesn't have to be a yoga pose. There's no right or wrong way to move. So if there is anywhere in the body, you can slowly release that leg down now and move intuitively. You can sit up, stand up, come onto all fours. You can stay in recline here. And again, you're just closing your eyes and moving intuitively. What feels good for you right now? What do you need? Good. 10 more seconds, just exploring. And then when you're ready, laying long on your mat, extend your legs, flop your feet back and forth, and then splay the feet open. Take your arms by your sides, palms facing up towards the sky, and set your shoulder blades flat on the surface of the mat. If you need to pull in your prop to tuck it under your head for a little more comfort, please do. You should feel comfortable here in our Shavasana, this final pose, most challenging pose in yoga. Let's attempt to still the mind. Very difficult. One powerful way of doing this, again, is with the breath. Let's focus our attention there and take little nibbles of these mummy moments where we are completely focused on ourselves. Inward. Yes. So feel the breath as you inhale, expanding your belly, opening it up like a balloon. And then feel any tension melting away as you exhale, being absorbed into the ground. Sending gratitude to your beautiful body and your beautiful self for showing up today, showing up for you. It's pretty important and hard to do. So celebrating now these final cycles of breath, celebrating all that you are. So I invite you to stay here in this pose for as long as you need. Thank you for practicing with me today. The light in me honors and bows to the light in you. Namaste.